Hi guys, alright, welcome back to the channel. We're here today with the Virus C desktop. As you can see, I have the main board already pulled out of this unit. Pile of stuff in bags here, a bunch of tact switches, and a couple of potentiometers. So, I've already gone through and tested this unit, and what I want to do, all the tact switches need to be replaced. That's kind of a standard maintenance move for a unit of this age before I'm going to resell it. It's kind of one of the hallmarks of the shop. I always want to make sure that it's in peak performance before it heads back out. Um, we've got pots as well that I want to replace. And I have the marked filter balance, um, and then amp relays. Yeah, this is just a couple I want to replace, so the rest are fine. This unit has a pot plate, so they don't wobble. But probably the most interesting thing that we want to do is I want to go ahead and recap the main board. And if you've watched the channel, we recently recapped a Virus B, and now I've got the configuration sorted out for the Virus C as well, which is similar but a little different. So, yeah, we're going to recap the main board. That'll be fun. And we're also going to put a new power switch in. This power switch works, but they certainly tend to go bad, and it's just best just to replace it. So yeah, we're going to kind of run through the full thing and get this unit ready to go. It's a gorgeous Virus C. The face and everything are in great condition. I have the bottom panel here. Just need to get it, we'll need to get the sides cleaned up a little bit, but we'll get to that once everything else is done. So I think what I'm going to start with, I'm going to definitely start with the main board. That's kind of the most important thing, and just get it recapped. So I'm going to move this out of the way for the time being, and kind of pull this stuff front and center here, um, and just talk briefly about this. So, like I said, I had recently, I'll call it cracked the code for the Virus B desktops, which definitely took me some time to get right because, you can match the values that you're supposed to match for the caps that are printed on the side, the labels, 100 UF, 25V, whatever. Um, but that's not the whole story. There's other characteristics that aren't necessarily visible just by looking at the label that you actually need to like go research that cap and what was its ESR rating, so on and so forth. So anyhow, I figured it out, and so I've done the same for the Virus C now, and yeah, I want to go ahead and get this board recapped and ready to go for the long haul. These things are just kind of at that age now where this is going to be a standard maintenance move for me. It definitely adds to the time that I'm going to spend on each repair, but also totally worth it because the machine is going to be really stable going out, so going forward. So yeah, let's just talk briefly about what we've got. And I'm gonna make a proper kit with stickers and labels and a proper chart like I have for the Virus B. By the way, I keep mentioning that I'll put a link to the Virus B cap kit in the description in case you have a Virus B and you're curious about that. Ultimately, I'll make a cap kit for the C as well with a professional looking chart, not hand drawn scribbles, which is what I have now. But I just need something to work with for today to get this repair done. So I'm just gonna kind of get right into it. First thing we need to do is start removing some of these, and really the best way that I find to do it is to just go around, and I'm going to add a little bit of fresh solder to each pin, to start pulling them out. And they kind of, when done properly, they're just going to kind of fall right out for the most part. So I'm sorry if this messes up the camera, but I need to see what I'm doing. And you may not get the best view, but it's more important that I do this properly and can tell what I'm doing. So adding the fresh just makes it easier to pull the existing one out. Just makes things flow a little easier. So I'm just spinning up a desoldering tool. So while that's heating up, yeah, so I have them all marked, what the rating is, how many of them there are. There's obviously two, but and a letter D that matches to my chart over here. Um, these are for the panel board, so we'll deal with those separately. Yep, there's 8 of those. The really important ones are the low ESR one, the infamous brown capacitor. This one should always be replaced. The next most important would be these two, the pair that go next. Oh, they go over here next to the power regulator, and then these two large ones up here. Those are the most important, but all the rest matter as well. So, like I said, we're just going to do them all. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Sometimes they just get a couple of like small bits in there that just prevent it from coming out. I want to clean that now. See if I can clean that. Quite a bit on this side. Pretty clean. The one thing you want to do is make sure you don't put any pressure on these. You can damage the pads pretty easily, so you just want to be careful. Let's see if this go a little smoother. Last time I did this, I really got into a rhythm and it kind of just started to go. So let's see what happens here. Okay, so I'm going to change tactics here, and I'm going to go with an alternate route for these. Sometimes, the bury and solder technique works better sometimes, and then we can just clean up afterwards. So yeah, let's just try that technique here and show you what's going on. So just bury them, get them both flowing. And it just drops right out easily. And then come back in and clean up later. And I think that's what we'll do for these. There's just too many of them that are getting stuck. And I know this technique works well and it's nice and clean. It doesn't damage the holes. So we just kind of bury them all. Then we can come back in with the desoldering tool and suck up the clean. That's what we'll do. So now if I, same thing, I should just be able to get this one to drop right out. Just get both sides flowing. And there we go. It just falls right out. This little baby one here will be no problem. Works especially well for the small ones. See how fast they come out now? It's a lot faster. So I mean, cleanup's going to be more of a pain, but we'll be fine. Right now. Okay. So yeah, that's really the way to do it. It's just kind of bury them all in solder and then wiggle them out like that. It's a lot faster than trying to use a desoldering tool. So that's all the caps removed. Now we have a lot of cleanup to do. So I'm going to do what I can with the tool, suck up as much as I can that way, and then we'll do the rest with wick and flux. It's just using the sucker is just going to save me a lot of time as far as it's going to save a lot of wick as well. Um, This is not a repair I recommend for somebody who's new to this. I mean, if you want to do one, maybe, but it's you can definitely. It's very easy to damage the board. It's very easy to damage the pads. Too much heat, too much pressure. You keep your tip there too long. These pads are tiny, and you can definitely wreck one. Fortunately, if you happen to wreck one, there's another set on the other side that you can use. Obviously, they're harder to get to. Um, but you can kind of just, if you had to, heat up this side, pull, and it'll grab on that side. But we're getting way out into the weeds here with commentary. So, um, anyway, let's see what we can clean up with this. We're not using any pressure, just time. That one came out perfect. Try this one again. What usually happens is you get one perfect one and then one that's not perfect. Sometimes like that you get both perfect. See, that's just saving us a ton of time already with the wick. We don't have to do anything. That hole's perfect, ready to go. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm ever so slightly angling this just so that the rim, because if it's how do I explain this? It's kind of too large for the hole. So if I just put the whole thing down, I could risk damaging the pad. But if I angle it slightly and just rest the rim on the edge here, I'm probably, not, I don't know, just like a 5-degree angle or whatever, and then it's pulling it all pretty pretty easily at that point. I'm going to keep using that technique. It works really well. Yeah, we'll eventually give this thing a proper bath. When we're done, we'll give it a real alcohol bath. And by that I mean we're gonna really scrub the whole board down with alcohol, get all this flux residue off, and then waterfall it and all that stuff. Okay. So yeah, there's flux residue all over the board. You can see it's sticky goop, whatever. Again, we weren't looking for perfection on that round. Just getting it clean enough so that I can reattach, install the new caps. I'll go ahead and just give it one more little clean here. But we'll really clean it properly once they're all in, because that's going to create more flux residue as well. So, okay, so we're back after a small break here, and we're going to go ahead and install all our new caps. Um, like I said, the board isn't perfect. There's flux residue, all over the place, but it's they're clean enough that I can go ahead and resolder all the new caps in. So let's get down to doing that. And I'm just going to do them in groups. That's really the easiest way. So I know that I'm going to take, let's just do these two to start with. That's a good a pair as any to do. Yep, so we want to go like this. Now I have the polarity marked on all of these in my little chart here. Okay. So the negative side is the stripe side. It's also the shorter lead. I'm going to pop this one in. I'm just going to bend it a little bit. That one's going to sit nicely. Prop that up there. And the other one of these is over here. And another, you can just look on the board. The square hole is positive and the circular one is the negative lead. So I think what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to go ahead and switch this into time-lapse mode and just roll through the rest of these. There's no sense in narrating the rest of this. So, yeah, I'm just going to get them all in, and then we can come back and get the board cleaned up and ready to go. Alright guys, so we are back here, and we have our main board recapped. Everything's looking great. Process pretty much went off without a hitch. The last thing we need to do now, before we give her a test, is to clean. And the other side is quite messy. We got a lot of flux residue and a lot of cleaning to do. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get out some cardboard, and I'm just going to kind of spray this thing down with alcohol and start scrubbing some of this away. The thing to watch out for, you got a hole here, these here. I want to try and not get alcohol on the other side of the board if I can avoid it. Certainly some of it's going to go through, but we want to try to avoid it as best we can. So maybe what I'll do, you know what? Why don't we try this? This is the hole I'm worried about. Let's just put a little piece of tape over that one. And here we go. There's a hole here as well, so we're going to get some through, but that's okay. And yeah, just kind of scrub. Where all the flux residue is. Yeah, okay, that tape didn't work out. Okay, and let's just waterfall this off now. So that's what I mean by that. Alright guys, so we're back with our main board here and everything's looking great. All our flux residue's gone. There's a tiny little bit. I'm going to just clean up with a Q-tip and some alcohol. There's no sense soaking the board and going through that whole process again just to get what's left up here. It's very little, and it's kind of just what's kind of around this hole here. There we go. So, very nice and clean. Fully recapped. One thing I'm also going to do while we have her open here, I'm going to go ahead and pop a new battery in. I always put a new battery in every virus that I work on. Really, any synth that I work on that needs a battery always gets a new battery. Just good business. It's a good maintenance move here. Batteries are pretty affordable, so what's the big deal? And yeah, it's just something. This one wants to fight me to get out of there. They child-proof the heck out of these because I guess kids eat them or something. I don't know. It's really bizarre, but I guess it happens. So, technique I usually use is just kind of pop this up. There we go. Just get underneath it. I'm going to try and be quick. Usually if you're quick like that, your patches are fine. If not, the patches just are going to get reset on this one. It's the way it is, but I'm pretty sure that's fine. Alright guys, so everything's looking good here. Nice and clean. New battery, all new caps. Everything's looking great. I don't see any flux residue or moisture on this side of the board. It's had time to dry out. This side is spotless. Looks very nice and clean. So the last thing left to do here is to test it. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it back in, and we'll spin her up and give her a run here. So I have the on-off switch just loaded together for now, so it's on. So once I plug it in, it's just going to spin right up. Well, hopefully, right? But let's go ahead and get it seated in the chassis here. Okay, let's connect our panel board cable. Now we haven't recapped the panel board yet. We'll do that once we get it out. And I'm going to get one screw in. I always just like to get one screw in for just stability. Don't really need it, but I always just put one in. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and use the power supply that we'll ship it with. We're not shipping all virus B's and C's with a Triad 9-volt 2-amp power supply. Reason being, they just run so much cooler than the 12-volt 1 amps. They really should have gone with just a 9-volt 2-amp on the virus B's and C's from the get-go. Don't know why they didn't, but I've run mine for a long time now, and I know other users have run theirs for quite a while as well with 9 volts, and they just run better. So, alright, so, moment of truth. Hopefully nothing goes up in smoke. That would suck. Oh, we should be fine. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get her Go ahead and plug her in, and she should just spin right up. And there we go. Access virus C, fully recapped. Wonderful. Let's get some audio cables plugged in. Let's get some MIDI cables plugged in over here. Now this one desperately needs to be retacked. These tacks are really... I'm gonna have to have a little bit of fun with this one just while we're messing around here. I mean, virus, guys. All right, so yeah, obviously our recap went well. Everything's working perfectly. The last thing left to do in this unit, we're going to go ahead and put a new power switch in. And we're going to go ahead and replace all the tacks and then the pots that I had pointed out. That's going to take some time. There's a pot plate on this. It's got to come out. Obviously, I need to take the main board back out. So, yeah, I mean, there's some more work to do, but we're through the worst of it. Well, we're through the hardest part of it, rather. I wouldn't say the worst of it. The worst of it is going to be doing all the tacks and the pots because that just takes time. But we're through the most precarious part of it, shall we say, with the main board. So it's always good to see, obviously, the unit turning on and working properly after you fully recap the main board. That's what you want to see. So, yeah, I think now's an appropriate time to pause. I'm going to get some lunch. I'll come back, and then we'll wrap this one up. Alright guys, we are back with our virus C here. So the next move is to go ahead and get this panel board out. Let's replace the pots that we want to replace, as well as replacing all the tact switches on it. And we're going to recap it as well, since we have it open. So, I also want to verify it's the same cap that are used in the virus B panel board, and I'm pretty sure that it is. And that's these here. So yeah, we'll just see what's what once we get in there. I didn't have a virus C board on hand when I was last doing the B panel board recap. So at any rate, first thing I want to do, we need to get the knobs off. And we're actually going to clean all these knobs. We'll do that separately while some of this other stuff's going on off camera. These aren't super dirty, but yeah, probably soak them in soap and water and then just scrub them and clean them. Let's put the panel board to the side just for a moment and go ahead and clean the faceplate while we've got it open here, and I want to go ahead and get the new power switch installed as well. So I'm just going to put this on a piece of cardboard here to help keep my work area clean. Now the current power switch works fine. It's just that I know that they go out on these, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of proactively replace it. I don't want it to be something that the buyer has to deal with down the road. And they just kind of pop right out once you get the tabs sorted out. And we'll go ahead and push it in. Yeah, I mean, that's super secure. It's not going anywhere. We absolutely don't need glue. So we just had to get some cleaner here. And take the files. This unit's very clean already, but this is the best chance we're going to get to clean it really, really well while the knobs are out and the board's not in there. So new power switch is in. Faceplate is super clean. Now I'm sure there's going to be a bit of a void sticker on the back here. Yeah, so we're going to want to deal with that really quick. So I'm just going to put a little lighter fluid on my paper towel here and just start going to town on this void sticker. We might get a little finish. Yeah, but nothing like you would get with alcohol. And let's bring in our panel board. This is going to be the least fun part of the project. So yeah, this is always a really annoying process because we have to take all of these jacket bolts off, which itself is a pain, but the real pain is putting them all back on. They just don't like to line up and they like to give you a hard time. Okay, so this is going to pop right out now. And not surprisingly, a lot of the washers stuck to the plate and a lot of the washers are on the pots. That's usually how it goes. Often when people take these apart, they think the washers go on top of the panel board or the pot plate. They don't. They go underneath it on top of the pots. That's all our washers. That's all our jacket bolts. We need to take all the buttons off as well because we're going to be replacing all the tact switches. So we can go ahead and do that. We'll clean all these buttons as well. They're pretty clean, but a little soap and water. Dry them out, all that good stuff. I want to take a closer look at these caps now that we have everything out of the way here. Let's get some magnification, some light. I want to see what these are. I'm going to save those, but I'm going to pull them. I'm going to go ahead and replace them with these. Nearly certain this is the compatible cap. If we have any scanning issues, we can always put the other ones back in. I don't think we will. So negative side is in, negative side is down. That one's negative side is touching the cable, and the negative side's down here. And then we can go ahead and continue bending them into position all the way. Okay, so there's our new caps. Again, just turning into a standard maintenance move for me on these. Okay, what's left? We're going to get our pots, the two pots that we want to get, and we're going to replace all the tact switches. I've made videos doing that 1,000 times, so I think I'll just put this in time lapse and work through this, and then we can come back once everything's back together and sorted out. What we're going to do, take the pots out, put new pots in, take all the tacts out, put new tacts in. We're going to alcohol bath the whole board, scrub it down, get rid of all the flux residue, dry it out, probably scrub it down again. It's a lot of flux residue that's going to be involved here, so it's going to take at least 2 or 3 goes. once it's all nice and clean and dried out, we'll put it back in and give it a test, but should be good to go. All right, guys, so we're back here with our Virus C panel board, and we've replaced all tact switches and pots that we wanted to replace. We ended up going with these two. The rest I'm happy with. And then, of course, we recapped it, which is just, a grand total of 2 caps, but nevertheless, they are new. What I want to do now is I want to go ahead and throw it in the unit and give it a test. And I'm going to test it, obviously, before I put the pot plate back on, because that would be insane not to test it first. Sometimes things go wrong for whatever reason, and the tact switch doesn't work, or whatever. There's all kinds of things that can happen. So I don't want to put that pot plate back on until I know it's good. So I'm just kind of nudging the lights. They get a little whacked out. At any rate, those look lined up pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and flip that back over. And I'm going to get the chassis out. And yeah, let's just spin this thing up and see what we've got. All right, that's good enough to give us a test at any rate. Let's go ahead and get the main board in. Okay. Everything's connected. New power switch is in, but it's not connected yet, so it's just going to turn on when I plug it in. It's just on right now. Hopefully. There we go. What do you know? Our panel board's still good. Of course it is. Okay, so tact switch time. Let's go into multi-mode, parts, back into single mode, multi-single, undo, store, single, we'll cancel that, transpose up, transpose down, edit, system edit, random. Did I hit these two? Not sure, but there we go. Edit. We're on the mod matrices, so ARP, edit, effects. Cool. So all of our tacts work, pots work. No scanning issues. Caps are good that we put in there. So yeah, this worked out perfectly. Still a ways to go. We need to get the pot plate back on. We need to clean the knobs. We need to clean the buttons. We need to clean the bottom plate, which I haven't done yet, and then get it all put back together. But yeah, everything that any of the perilous work is done. What's to do from here on out is just time consuming, but this is going to be a wonderful Virus C. So we'll pick it up, guys. I'm out of time for today. I may pick it up this evening and wrap it up after dinner. I'm not sure, but if not, then tomorrow for sure. Yeah, it takes a long time to to do this. So anyway. Hi guys. All right. Well, we are back the morning after here. I was recording the end of the video last night and my microphone died. Um, so I figured I'd just re-record the last segment here. In the morning with some, hopefully more suitable lighting, just to close the video out. So just to kind of recap what we've done, no pun intended. The most important thing we've done to this unit, and the most exciting thing, is that we've fully recapped the main board. That means we replaced all the electrolytic capacitors on the board. First time I've done a Virus C main board. We did the Virus B about a month ago, so it's pretty cool to have both the Virus B and C main board cap configurations sorted out. I'll be making the cap kit for the C available once I work out some documentation to accompany it. We've also recapped the panel board, which is all of 2 caps, but still, it's nice to know that we've also correctly identified and replaced those with modern equivalents as well. We put a new battery in this unit. We put a new power switch in this unit. The power switch was fine, but the power switches fail, and it's a 99-cent part. Might as well swap it out now so that the customer down the road doesn't have any trouble with it. We put in all new tacts, 35 new tact switches. They're soft touch, rated for 3 million clicks. They feel nice. They sound nice, very much like the factory tact switches. We replaced 2 pots. The amp release and the filter were kind of spent. This unit has a pot plate in it, so they don't wobble. But this, obviously, the filter knob, probably one of the most used knobs on any synth, and it was a bit spent. And then this one was just also a bit spent. Usually, one of these is always gone. They tend to get hit, so on almost every virus I touch, I end up replacing at least one of those. Obviously, we've given the unit a proper cleaning, and we are shipping it out with a new power supply. So I'm shipping all B's and C's now with a 9-volt 2 amp power supply instead of a 12-volt 1 amp power supply that they ship with. Reason being, myself and others have noted that these run a lot better on a 9-volt power supply than they do on a 12-volt. A lot of that 12 volts is burned off as heat, and the heat sink on these is really just kind of inadequate. And after about a half hour of use, especially if you're in multi-mode and stuff, it just gets so hot you can't even touch it. And that's considered normal for electronics, but what I've noticed on my own virus and others as well, on Reddit that I've spoken to, just use a 9-volt, and much less of that gets burned off as heat. It's more than enough to power the unit, and you can run it all day long, at full tilt, and the heat sink, you can put your finger on it and it won't burn you. Um, and the surrounding parts of the board and the surrounding caps, and you could literally run it for 12 hours straight, and it's not going to start. None of this stuff's really going to even get barely warm. Whereas with the 12 volt, that stuff starts to get kind of hot. So yeah, at any rate, that's kind of a long spiel there, but yeah, definitely. And then the other thing to point out too is it passes the wiggle test, this power supply. So it's not 14 millimeters to tip, which is what I recommend, but the insulation is small enough to fit into the hole so that you can wiggle. It doesn't power cycle when wiggled. So it's a triad, medical grade, 9 volt, 2 amp power supply. I sell them separately on the site as well. If you want to pick them up, you can pick them up at Mauser, whatever. I think at the end of the day, it's a little cheaper through me because the shipping's a lot less. And then there's no tax unless you're in Texas. So at any rate, guys, kind of the moral of the story, and one of the reasons I wanted to make this video, it's been a while since I did a virus video. I kind of just wanted to make a video and to, kind of reiterate the fact that any virus that comes to our shop is going to get a maximum effort put into it to restore it to as like new functional and cosmetic condition as possible. It's not a roll the dice virus off Reverb or eBay or even from some other retailers like, I'm not going to name their names, who sell used viruses that are in questionable condition. No, this thing's been gone through. Like I said, main board's been gone through, fully recapped, new battery, all new tacks, new pots, new caps on the main board, new power supply, new power switch. So this one's ready to go for the long haul. Also, it's extremely clean. All the knobs have been cleaned by hand. All the buttons have been cleaned by hand. So it looks fantastic. And so that's what we do with Virus Sense. I have a thing for Virus Sense. I've been using them for 25 years in the studio myself. My first love was an Indigo V1. I'm rocking a TI2 and a B. I absolutely love the Sense, the workflow. They're just so fast to dial in whatever it is you're looking for, and there's nothing they can't do, to a certain extent. I mean, they sound just absolutely amazing. They're, legendary synths, and that's why they're still so sought after now, and, prices on them keep kind of going up. But at any rate, yeah, even if you're not interested in the Virus C, this will be listed on our site, of course, but we've got TIs, TI2s, Snows, Bs, got a Virus Classic I'm going to throw up soon. If you're looking for a virus and I don't have it listed, just message me. Chances are I have it or I know where to get one or I'm working on it. I'm always buying more. I'm always doing my best to restore them. The Polars and the Dark Stars are really hard to find. The Dark Stars, of course, are extremely difficult to find, but as I can, I definitely make those available. They go quickly when they come up. But yeah, kind of rambling on here, but I just kind of wanted to make a point that we put a lot of extra effort into these. Also have a large parts catalog, probably the largest, at least that I've seen, certainly in the United States. We've got displays, we've got OEM displays, we've got drop-in displays, kits that I've made for the Bs. Unfortunately, I don't have a red display for the C. I just can't find one yet. I've been looking, but I do have black and white ones that look nice in the Cs. They're dark blue and light blue, but black and white. They're pretty black and white looking overall. But panel boards, knobs, buttons. We have every button, we have every knob for every model except for the Virus A. Panel boards come and go. I think I had a TI panel board that just sold, but I've got a C panel board laying around that's been retacked. I have another TI Polar panel board, rack mount kits, just all kinds of parts for the Virus Sense. I'll put the links in the description. Not to go on like a huge sales pitch, but I do want to point out, if for anybody who happens to catch this video, like, hey, it's not just, this one virus that we're working on. It's like I've done my best to like build a whole ecosystem, both to support my own restorations, but also to support the user base that's out there, the community that is, needing help and kind of having a hard time getting it elsewhere. So, I'm active on Reddit in that regard. Maybe I'll throw up my Reddit link. But anyway, guys, that's enough talking. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next video.